Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, it's been a fat minute. You wanna come up here? You can come be with me. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Um. So long time. I got a lot of thoughts. A lot of thoughts. I'm gonna do my very best to slow my thinking down and um, express what I want to say in the most okay, the most loving way, so that it can be received and all of that. Um, because I know that um, I don't necessarily think that it's a character flaw that I have, but maybe it probably is something that I need to work on, or maybe not. I'm not sure. I haven't really gotten to that point. Um, but, anyone who has heard me speak about certain things, and really anyone that knows me, um, can attest to the fact that when I start speaking about things that I just, you know, really believe in, and I'm just passionate about these things, and um, I think I know I can come off aggressive, um, and I'm very gung ho. I can get extremely feisty about certain things because I so desperately um, want to see everybody, um, succeed and accomplish whatever that is, whatever that means to them. Then that's great. I don't think that there's one definition of success or happiness. I think it is whatever you make it to be, and whatever makes you feel whole and balanced and fulfilled and everything like that. Like, that's what I want for everybody. And I have figured out a couple things to the formula, um, to achieve that. And I just want to pass it on. um, I know that I have kind of like this, I don't know, like aggressive love style. I just love really, really hard. I love really hard. Um, and I know what it feels like, um, to be complacent or stagnant or sad or anxious, all these things, that, we don't necessarily want to feel, things that don't feel good to us. I know what those things feel like. I've been in some very dark places mentally and emotionally, and because I know what it feels like, I don't want anyone else to, have to experience that. So if I can give any kind of, um, advice or encouragement or support or help or whatever it is, I want to do that. Um, and, I guess probably where my like aggressive passion comes from is, um, because I get dismissed a lot, and I've really had to struggle to kind of be seen and be heard, and not that I need everyone to know my name. I don't need to be famous. I don't even need the credit. I don't care. As long as good is being done, then good is being done. That's really all that matters to me. But I think that I get kind of aggressive because I'm trying to really express my seriousness about it, um, and maybe I need to work on that and be a little bit softer. But it gets old real fast when people stop, they don't listen. Everyone wants to be heard, and I think that everyone deserves to be heard and to be seen, because we all have something to offer. And I've learned certain things and certain maneuvers and things like that that have helped me with my life tremendously. And I want other people to be able to experience that kind of joy, So this is for you, Hailey. So Hailey is Randy's, my little brother's girlfriend. Soon to be whatever. No pressure. Um, but so Hailey just turned 23. Randy will be 23 in January, and they have had quite the relationship. I believe it's been 8 years, but it hasn't, it wasn't a solid 8 years. There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of off and on, that kind of thing. And the way I feel about Randy, I think I've made that very clear to everybody in my life. I absolutely adore him, and he, no offense to anyone else, but Randy is absolutely my favorite person in this world. And, all that other stuff, if you really don't know, you can go back and watch God Gave Me Randy, and even that barely scratches the surface. Anyways, love Randy. But because of, my love for him, I'm protective, right? It's my little baby bird. And, even Hailey will admit that, there's a lot of toxicity in their past. And, I really, me and, and the family, really just wanted Randy to get the frick away from Hailey, because it wasn't adding anything good. It wasn't enriching or anything like that. And, but a lot of time has passed, and, long story short, I'm, incredibly proud of Hailey. I feel so blessed and grateful to have her in my life, because now it's interesting how time changes things. But now, I actually have a separate, besides Randy, I have, a separate friendship with Hailey. We've gone out, just us, and sit down and talk and laugh and share wine and, what have you. We're friends. And so I wanted to give her credit, in kind of a grander way, I guess you could say. And so I I don't want to use the word wasted, because I have no regrets, and there's no such thing as waste, really, because as long as you are learning something within whatever it is, then I don't see that as a waste. So I'll say I spent many, many years with the wrong person, romantically, and really made this person, the center of my life, really, and did everything I could to make things work, and just, whatever. And I had a lot of people kind of insinuate, but not straight up tell me, that I needed to leave this person and not have him in my life anymore. And for whatever reason, I wasn't ready. to receive that. And then Hailey came back into my life. Randy was pretty nervous, whatever, but he brought her over for Thanksgiving one year, and you could just tell that Hailey had done a lot of growing up, and she really turned a lot of things around for herself, and as someone who has done that before, and now again, I know the hard work that goes into that, and I know it's painful, and there's a lot of struggle involved. And so when I see someone do that, I really commend them. It's hard work, and she put it in, and she did it. And this girl graduating from college with a 3.9, like, wow, that's amazing. With psychology as her major, nonetheless, that's quite the doozy, that subject. A lot of things that go into it, and she's passionate about it, and that's really admirable and noble of her. And so, anyways, I remember there was one night where, God, we met up at this place and really we were just gonna have some snacks and have a couple drinks and then call it a day with that, but it just kind of turned into something way greater, and it turned into me completely changing my life. And so basically we met at this restaurant, snacking, but then, we're enjoying each other so much. She's like, well, gosh, my apartment is right down the road. Let's grab another bottle of wine and let's continue this conversation. So I end up staying at her house. We didn't even realize. We stayed up. When did we first meet? I want to say we probably met up at the place like at 4 o'clock or something like that. And then we stayed up till 6 in the morning. And we had no idea. Because we were just like vibing off each other and just having this really great conversation. And that night, I basically broke down, what she had kind of missed, I guess, and just kind of put in my heart on my sleeve. And I don't even know how or why I shared all of that with her. But I did, and whatever. It's kind of irrelevant what I shared with her, but I remember she said, once I was finished, and I was crying, and I've been having a really hard time. I was having anywhere between 3 to 5 panic attacks daily during this time, and it was exhausting. It was excruciating. I was in a lot of pain. And so by the end of everything, she says, I just don't understand why you are with this guy. He is sucking the life out of you. And you are such, she said, you are light, you're sunshine, and you're bubbles, and that's starting to drift away. And that's not who you are. You're this bright being in this life, and anyone who doesn't see you as a blessing or whatever, I can't remember her exact wording, but she's like, then they need to go. And so basically what she did was kind of flip my own words onto me, because I've told her that before. And something in that and her saying these things to me, and basically just, I guess, just expressing to me like how great of a person she thought I was. And that was really hard for me to receive because, I just, we all have our insecurities, and I've got imposter syndrome really bad. And, quite frankly, I don't talk to myself. I'm getting better, but, really in general for my whole life, I've not been my own friend, and I haven't been very nice to myself, and my self-talk was very negative. And so that's, it's just hard for me to hear that. And, just accepting any kind of compliments really is hard for me. But there's something about it, I don't know, just after she said that and in those moments, something clicked for me. And then she also sent me home with this book called Zen and the Art of Happiness by Chris Prentice. And I highly recommend that if anyone wants to better themselves or their lives, you read that book. It's very short. It's like 200 pages, whatever. And, not like whatever. It's no sponsoring or whatever. But I'll go grab the book and show it if y'all are interested or whatever. You can go and find it. So she sent me home with this book, and every day I read something in it, whether it was a paragraph, a whole page, a whole chapter, whatever. I read every single day that book. And I also, because whenever something is wrong with me, I immediately want to solve it because, it's uncomfortable, right? And so, these panic attacks I'm having and just my self-worth was going down. I could not I figured it out now, but I could not figure out what was going on because these panic attacks, I couldn't even understand why the triggers were triggers. And I couldn't, there's been times where I've had panic attacks and I could narrow it down with, what exactly happened, what made me feel unsafe. Okay, now how can I change that situation so that I do feel safe, or how do I need to avoid it completely, or, all these tactics and what have you. And so, but with these panic attacks, it was just this like general sense of doom and uneasiness, and I could not figure out what the hell was going on with me. And so I thought that, I'm a big believer in, what you are, what you eat, right? So not food, but like, what am I intaking? What am I digesting every day, right? That's music, that's books, that's people I'm hanging around, right? It's all these, anything that can make an impression on you throughout the day. I try to be very careful on especially what I feed my mind and my heart, because I want to make sure that I maintain a balanced mentality with everything, right? And so I had already, maybe, I don't know, a year prior, whatever it was, before that night with Hailey, I had already started, what I decided to do was start listening to these motivational speeches every morning, because I heard this podcast with this neurosurgeon or whatever he was, blah, 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 PhD, and whatever. But he said, we need to be very careful what we do with the first 20 to 30 minutes of when we're awake. Like, literally from the moment we open our eyes and then start the clock, right? And he said that the first 20 to 30 minutes when we're awake is when our brain is extremely receptive. And so he was like, so I encourage people to be very careful with what they do with that time in the morning, because it can set your whole day, and then that day, and then the day, and then your life, right? And so I was like, oh, wow, okay. I used to start my day by grabbing my phone and going on Instagram or whatever, and basically feeling like crap because, we all know the the results of this is, people are posting all of these, how great their life is. And then you see that and you compare yourself to them and you're like, I'm a piece of crap. They've got this and they've got that, da, 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 da. And so that's what I would do every morning, just like looking and starting my day that way, right? So what I did instead was I started putting on these motivational speeches. And they all say, like, all these speakers, right? They all say pretty much the same thing. Because there's there's these universal truths, right? There's just, it's nature. It's the laws of nature, right? And how the world goes around. Everything's connected, right? And so they're saying, oh, no one else is going to save you. You got to move your feet. You got to pick up your mat. You have to do these certain things, da 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 da, right? And as I'm listening to all these speeches, and it's the repetition, right, that gets in your head, and that's what you need. It doesn't matter that it's the same thing or it's worded differently or whatever. It doesn't matter. The whole thing to me was that I was digesting this content and doing these like self-affirmations and things like that, right? And so I, that eased my situation a little bit. And there was one thing I kept running into, and that I knew, like, somewhere deep, deep, deep down, I knew that this is what I needed to do, but like I said, I wasn't ready to receive, right? But the one thing that they kept bringing up that I was like, that's the one thing that I'm not doing, is changing my environment. Okay, so how do you change your environment? You change the people that are around you. And you have to be very selective with who you allow in your circle and who you call your tribe and who you interact with on a daily basis. Because their energy and their complaints or whatever it is, right? The way they dress, their phrases, right? We all influence each other and pick up on these things and whatever, right? And so you want to make sure that the people that you are spending your time with have the same mentality and same vibration or frequency as you, or even higher, right? And you don't bring them down. The whole point is for everyone to lift each other up, right? And be around people that gas you up. Be around people that get excited when you get excited about something. I kept running into that. So I start reading this book, right? And I'm like reading it going like, yeah, I believe that. Yep, I already do that. Okay, I could get better about that. All right, noted, da-da-da, right? I'm literally making these notes for myself. And then not only, see, here's the big part, right, is the follow through. It's not just about learning, because I've said this so many times before, learning is completely obsolete if you are not actually going to apply it to your life. And so not only am I taking these notes, these mental notes for myself, these literal physical notes as well on paper, not only am I doing that, I'm actually exercising out into the world and into my own self what I'm learning so I can help myself get better and be more balanced. And therefore I can help someone else, because if you can focus on yourself and be a light here, you can inspire someone over there. And it's this whole play forward rippled effect thing, where it's like, well, if I can inspire this one person or two people over here with my light, then they can be inspired to have the light. And then someone over there in their circle far away from me, they can be inspired. And then, you see what I'm saying? And so the light we keep passing the torch, right? And so in this book, Finally, I get, reading it, I get to the end, and there it is again. Upgrading my environment, changing my environment. And I'm like, it's the one thing. It's the one thing I'm not doing. And you don't get to, I think that one of the universal truths is that you don't get to pick and choose the things that are going to help balance you. It's either all or nothing. You can't, let's say that there's 5 of these things, you can't leave out that 5th one and just say, well, I'm okay with the 4. No, because now you're still missing the entire point, right? You need all of that. And so I had a very real come to Jesus moment reading that, and I was like, and that, I finished that book that night, and I closed it, and I had finally decided that I was going to get a divorce. And then I started as well, not just with, my ex-husband, but everywhere else too. Anywhere else that I saw that needed some tidying up or upgrading, I did it. And it completely changed my life forever, for the better. And so I just, it's just, I've spoken about how, ingredients in my life, and that's, all these videos, and, it's just scratching the surface of the ingredients of my life. But the ingredients of my life are mainly people, right? And it's just crazy that this girl, Hailey, who drove me nuts, who I was ready to freaking kill any day of the week for hurting my little brother's heart, ended up being this person that helped change my life by simply encouraging me and knowing me, investing enough time and knowing me that I like to read, and she knew that that was the medium that I could do, and also her being receptive to God, because I feel like that's like the Holy Spirit, like talking through her, was like, give her this book, say these words, she needs to hear this, she needs to read this, she needs to change her life, it is time. Because I was over here running around, spinning my wheels, trying to do this crap to basically, save a marriage that was over before it even began, really. And that was keeping me over here when I was supposed to be over here. And so it was just time for me to move on. And now I've got all this freedom. And it's absolutely incredible. And I have a lot of testimony, man. It's like, and that's why I get so gung-ho and aggressive with my love and my advice and things like that, because I've done it and I know that it works. And so I'm like, God, like, why would we not share the information? You know what I mean? Like, why would I keep something that great that has changed my life completely? Why would I keep that to myself? If my heart's desire is that I want to see everybody succeed and feel like they have purpose and live a fulfilling life, why would I not share that information? And what's been difficult is I have encountered a lot of people um, that have seen this turn of events for me. Like they were there throughout the whole thing, right? And now they see, everyone. I can't tell you how many people have told me, God, you are glowing. Your whole aura is different now. And that's awesome, and that's really cool, and I feel better. I feel lighter. I feel not 100% balanced. I think that's a lifelong journey, but I'm a lot closer than what I was. And it's hard for me to see certain, I've met a lot of people, like I said, where it's painful, and it's very difficult for me to see people not putting in the work, but they sure do like to complain. And I lived and was married to a person that was never going to be satisfied with anything, no matter how good things got. Never was going to see the brighter side when things were tough. Just always wanted to bitch and moan about how basically we weren't millionaires. It's just like, okay, I like my small, humble life. I feel happy in that. And basically, my ex-husband just was determined to live in misery. And I don't want to do that. I want to have a good, happy life, And so it's hard for me to see people now that I've made this turn, especially where you can, you just tell, we all have people in our lives like that, even just one person in our life like that, where they're not happy unless they're unhappy, you know what I mean? Like, they're constantly needing to stir the pot. They constantly need depression. They constantly need chaos in order to feel good. Or however, it's kind of like this really backwards paradox, I guess you could say. Yeah, paradox. And I can't be around people like that anymore. And so, and I've eliminated pretty much everyone that exhibits that behavior out of my life. So it's really cool. I'm super appreciative and like also bamboozled at the same time that, Hailey is one of these people that is not like that. She actually tries. She actually is a good student. She actually is receptive to advice, and because people like that, we so badly just want to be better. We want to be happy. We want to choose happiness. And I can understand psychologically, because I was there before too, where it's like, stepping into happiness, it doesn't feel like stepping into it. It feels kind of like you're free falling. It's very scary because you're leaving behind what you've always known, whatever that was, addiction, sadness, anxiety, whatever, right? There's a part of you that found comfortability in it because it was so familiar. It's what you knew for so long. And at a point it gets cozy, and that's how you get freaking trapped. You're stepping into happiness is, you at the same time you're stepping into the unknown. And that's scary. And there's fear there for sure, but if people could just have, what was that movie? We Bought a Zoo or something, I think, with, not Mark Wahlberg, the other one who plays, Jason Bourne. God, Matt Damon. Jeez, Matt Damon. Matt Damon says this, and this has stuck with me, right? Because that movie was released, over a decade ago, right? And, but he says, just 20 seconds bravery. Like anytime that you're feeling like, ooh, really nervous about doing something, it's like the hardest part, and my mom has said in her own way this too, but so the hardest part about doing something is starting it, is like literally initiating the very first move, right? I'll get it for you, buddy. Or I'll take this off for you so you don't make it color. I see. And I just love that. And it's like, if we could do that, if we could decide to do that every single day, and you have to do this every single day because it's the repetition, right? And it's practice. That repetition is practice, right? Practice is repetition, right? And so if we can practice that every single day, even if it's just one time a day, right? 20 seconds of bravery. Just do the damn thing. Do it. Because then once you're in it, it's literally just like, oh. It really is like that. I've experienced it so many times so far. And that's cool, right? So then what happens is when you finally decide, okay, it's scary, but I'm going to do it, right? And then you do it, and then you're in it, and then you go, oh, this actually wasn't as scary or bad as I thought it was going to be. This is actually kind of cool, right? And so then you keep doing that. And so then the first time you do that, you're like, whew. And then the second time, you're still like, whoa, I'm nervous still. But I do remember the last time, it wasn't that bad. So let's do it again. And then you just keep doing that. And you do it, you start doing it intentionally, and you do it intentionally so many times that all of a sudden one day, you're not doing it intentionally. It's just your nature now, because you've practiced it so much that now it comes naturally, and now that is just how you live. And that's really cool, right? And so you build this whole thing up to this, right? For whatever uncomfortable situation you were in, okay? Now you've gone through the first one. The first breakthrough? I don't know what to call it. And then, okay, we have the breakthrough. Okay, but now we're experiencing life a little bit better, da-da-da-da, we're going along, and something else, right? It says life. Okay? Well, now you even have, not only do you just have that one, right? You have this whole chain of them, because you've already had the first breakthrough, right? And you're like, whoa, here we go again, right? And so then that chain link, a little bit easier. Still a little scary. We're still a little nervous. That's all right. But we remember that first breakthrough. Okay, so now, first breakthrough, life, yay. Another challenge. Ooh, nervous. Ooh, nervous. Ooh, nervous. Ooh, nervous. Build another chain. Have another breakthrough. Now you've got 2. Okay. Shoop on the timeline. Life, yay. I've learned some new things. I've improved. Whew. Another chunk. Another chain. Another chunk. Another chain. Whew. Third breakthrough. And you keep doing that. And it gets easier and easier and easier. Because you remember, well, I've had 1 breakthrough. Oh, but now I've had 2 breakthroughs. I've had 3 breakthroughs. And not only is it about knowing that it wasn't as scary as you thought, and that it actually was, fun and good, right? I think also that can enrich your self-confidence. Because now you can say, when you're faced with whatever the next debacle or adversity or challenge it is, right? You go, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. I have to get through it. But I've done this before. I've gotten through things before. I've had my breakthroughs before. And I don't necessarily like the work that I have to do to get there. But I really like the result at the end. and we're just going to buckle up and do it again. And now, right now, happening live, I'm realizing that the chain links to the breakthrough are actually much smaller than what I was originally thinking, and that actually the breakthroughs are the chain link. It's those chunks. All that time, all the different times of adversity and doubtfulness and everything like that, and if you can push through all that, and again, the more and more you push through and the more you practice that, you change your whole life, and then all of a sudden you're not intentionally practicing it, you just are living it, and you're doing it because that's who you are now. It's a really beautiful thing. I love learning. Because really what I want to do is I want to change people's lives. And so I used to put forth, I think I still do. I'm getting a little bit better. I think I'm getting a little bit more evened out as I get older. But I realized, however many years ago, that a loophole that God showed me was, he basically said, he's like, look, you want to help people, and that's great, and I understand that, but you're not giving yourself any of the same kind words and energy. And he's like, and if you really want to help people, what you need to do is help yourself, because that's way more inspirational. We can encourage and inspire and cheer on people as much as we want, but I think the real inspiration is living it yourself and making that your life. I think that's the truest form. And so that's kind of what, come here baby, that's what God kind of showed me there. And it's, so again, it goes back to passing the torch, the light. If I'm a light, that I can inspire another light here, inspire another light here, and right, it goes on and on and on. So but I wouldn't, all the things I just said, I'm not sure if I would be able to have said any of those things and actually not only just say them, but actually truly believe them, and not just actually truly believe them, but believe them for myself if it weren't for Hailey. And I'm so grateful to have that girl in my life and to eventually have her part of my family in the future. She is she's so brilliant. She's such a gorgeous soul, heart of gold, funny, caring, mom of the group. She really, really cares. She really, really cares. And so it's just, life is crazy, life is cool, life is beautiful, and it's just this one, just gorgeous mess, really. And, I made a pact with her and Randy, but I think I mainly, directed it towards her, between me and her, that we need to make the decision continuously throughout the day, every day, for the rest of our lives, that we are going to enjoy. We're going to stop worrying. And when we can't get ourselves to stop worrying, or, whatever the word might be, right? Whatever the verb is, if we can't in the moment or on that day, shake it off, or, get it out of our head or system, that we're also going to exhibit grace towards ourselves and be patient with ourselves, because we are still learning and growing, and we cannot get it perfect every single time. and that's okay. And you know, and so when the bad times do come around, let's really remember the good times, and let's remember that we had those breakthroughs. Let's remember that we have built off of these chain links, and that when life is good, let's really fully lean into it and not think that something's around the corner to ruin it for us, and then therefore ruining it already. You know, let's like actually cherish each other and this time that we have together. So anyways, learned a lot. Been learning a lot. And yeah, I love you, Hailey. I know I already sent you a little something, and I've sent you things before and whatever, but I guess I just wanted to really talk that out and, you know, just get it off my heart and send it to you. And I appreciate you and I love you. And everyone have a wonderful day. Oh, and don't forget that you are a battle-fought, blood-bought child of God. That is all. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.